You walked in carrying hope, but underneath the hope, there's exhaustion you haven't named. You've done this before, the resolutions, the vision board, the word for the year, January gym membership, the fresh journal with the perfect first entry. And by March, real life happened. The patterns came back, the habits won, the dates changed. You didn't. So now you're sitting here wondering if this year will actually be different. Or is it just another remix of the same struggle? Let me name what you're really feeling. You're tired of starting over. You're tired of hoping and being disappointed. You're tired of feeling like everyone else figured it out. You're still stuck in the same loop. And here's the part that stings. You've been blaming circumstances, but the real problem isn't your situation, it's your pattern. It's your thinking. It's the mental software you keep running even when it crashes every single time. Today, we're going after every lie that last year taught you, and we're replacing it with the truth you already know but keep forgetting.
Welcome to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast, a podcast about becoming 1% better every day. And now your host, yours truly, Clarence Stowers.
Welcome back to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast. I'm Clarence Edward Stowers Jr. And today we're talking about why your new year keeps feeling like a remix of the last one. This isn't about motivation. This is not about trying harder. This is about the mental patterns you keep running that guarantee the same results no matter how many times you change the calendar. If you're tired of starting over, this episode is for you. Here's the truth most people won't say out loud. You don't need another year. You don't need another plan. You don't need another resolution. You need a new mind. Because motivation fades, mindsets stick. The reason your past years felt familiar is because you never changed the way you think. You kept hoping for a new season while running the old programming. Every January, the world sells you a fresh start. Gyms run specials. Planners go on sale. You feel motivated. But motivation is a mood, and moods change. By February, the excitement fades. By March, you're back in the same loop. You thought the problem was your plan. It was not. The problem was your pattern. You cannot outwork a broken mindset. You can only replace it. Which brings me to my first insight. Write this down. Understanding why patterns persist will free you from blaming yourself for things you didn't even know were controlling you. We call that the pattern problem. Here's what's happening. You've been copying and pasting the same mental habits into every new year. You've been hoping for a different result while repeating the same thoughts. You've been wanting to change while protecting the patterns that keep you stuck. Think of it like this. Your mind runs on software. And just like your phone or computer, if the software has bugs, it doesn't matter how many times you restart it, the bugs are still there. So most people treat January like a restart button, but a restart doesn't fix broken code. It runs the same broken code again. I was talking to a guy last week. who told me he's setting the same financial goal. He's been setting the same financial goals for 3 years. Same numbers, same plan, same excitement in January, and by April, same credit card balance. When I asked him what changed in his thinking about money, he looked at me like I was speaking another language. He had not changed his thinking. He just changed his spreadsheet. I did this for years. Every January, I'd set goals about my health, my work, my relationships, and every year I'd hit the same wall around March. Then one day I realized I wasn't failing because I lacked discipline. I was failing because I kept thinking the same thoughts that produced the same behaviors that created the same results. I was asking for a new outcome while running old programming. So here's what I started doing. Every morning, I wrote down one thought pattern from the previous year that I refused to repeat. Not a goal, not a behavior, a thought. Things like, I'll start next week, or I'm too far behind to catch up, or everyone else has it figured out. No, I named the lie, I wrote it down, and then I wrote the truth next to it. That simple practice changed everything. Because once you see the pattern, you can break it. But here's where most people get stuck. They think willpower will save them. And that's the second lie we need to deal with, which brings me to my second insight. Write this down. The lie says motivation will save you. The truth says only transformation will. We call that the motivation trap. Here's the hidden truth. Motivation is not your problem. Your problem is that you're depending on a feeling to do the work of a system. Motivation is a mood, and moods change with your sleep, your stress, your blood sugar, and whether someone cuts you off in traffic. You see, you can't build a life on a mood. You can only build a life on a mindset. So here's the question. What if the goal isn't to stay motivated, but to build a thought pattern so strong that motivation becomes irrelevant? Real talk, real talk, real talk. I had a friend who lost 60 pounds. And everyone asked him, man, how did you stay motivated? No, this is not with assistance from Ozempic or nothing like that. No. We asked him, how did you stay motivated? His answer was surprising. How did you stay motivated? He said there were days that he didn't want to work out. Days he wanted pizza instead of chicken. Days he felt like quitting. But he had a mental rule. And that mental rule says, I don't make decisions based on how I feel in the moment. I make decisions based on who I am becoming. I had to steal that. That's not motivation. That's identity. That's a mindset shift. So here's how you do this. Every time you catch yourself saying, I don't feel like it, stop and ask, what would the version of me I am becoming do right now? Not what you feel like doing. What the future you would do. That one question will break the motivation trap every single time. But knowing the pattern and breaking the motivation trap is only half the battle. The real work is replacing the old thought with a new one. And that's where most people quit, which brings me to my third and final insight. Write this down. If you will name one pattern, write it down, and replace it daily, this year will be different. We call that the daily replacement practice. Not because the calendar changed, but because your mind did. Here's the practice. It takes 2 minutes, and you can start today. You all ready? Write this down. Step 1. Name the pattern you refuse to repeat. Be specific. Not I want to do better. Name the actual loop. Name the self-sabotage. Name the negative self-talk. The fear-driven decision-making. The people-pleasing. That's avoidance. And then step 2, after you name the pattern and refuse to repeat it, step 2, identify the new way of thinking you will embrace. What's the truth that replaces the lie? If the lie was, I'm not enough, the new thought is, I'm capable of growth. If the lie was, I can't change, the new thought is, I'm changing every day. And step 3, write it down every single day. Old pattern on the left, new pattern or new truth on the right. And here's why it works. Your brain is wired for repetition. The thoughts you repeat become the beliefs you live by, and the beliefs you live by become the actions you take. See, most people are repeating the wrong thoughts. So they're reinforcing the wrong beliefs, which produces the wrong actions. But when you intentionally repeat a new thought, you're rewiring your brain. You're building a new neural pathway. You're creating new software. You're coding and you don't even know it. And here's why it works. See, neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. Your brain can change, but it won't change by accident. It changes by intention and repetition. You spend years repeating the same old patterns. Now you're going to spend the next 90 days repeating the new one. And here's what happens. The first week, it feels forced. The second week, it feels familiar. And by the third week, it feels natural. And by the fourth week, it's automatic. And when it becomes automatic, you're not white-knuckling your way through change anymore. No, you're living from a new mindset. This isn't about trying harder. This is about thinking differently. This isn't about willpower. This is about rewiring. This isn't about your plans. This is about your mind. So let's bring it all together. I don't know what pattern has been haunting you. I don't know what loop you've been stuck in. I don't know how many times you started January with hope and ended December with disappointment. But I know this. You're not done. You don't need to try harder. You don't need to think differently. You don't need to manufacture change. You need to surrender to the process of transformation. And if you will name the pattern, write it down, and replace it daily, this year will be different. Not because the calendar changed, because your mind did. This year will not be a repeat, not if you refuse to let it be. If this episode helped you to see something you needed to see, do me a favor. Share it with one person that you know or that's in your circle or sphere of influence. Send them the link. Tag them in a post. Text it to them right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. I drop a new episode every week on clarity, focus, or leading yourself well. Leave me a comment and tell me, what's the one pattern from last year you refuse to repeat? I guarantee you I will read every single one. Next week, we're talking about why your circle is keeping you stuck and how to know when it's time to walk away from people you've outgrown. You don't want to miss that one. Until then, get 1% better every day. Clarity over hustle. And remember, I'm not here to beat you up. I'm here to wake you up. And this year will not be a repeat. Hey, I'm Clarence Edward Stowers, Jr. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you the next time.
You've been listening to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast. Join us next time for more insights on becoming 1% better each day and leveling up in all areas of life.